I just wanted to come on here because maybe somebody out there has severe asthma and is pregnant and going through this. I didn't have anyone that could relate to it. Hello everyone. So this has been a bit of a journey, this pregnancy. Beginning of the year, I had a hematoma, which is like a hemorrhage where the baby is, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a pocket of blood. And I had a little bit of bleeding in the beginning when I was 6 weeks pregnant, a bigger bleed when I was, I think, 18 weeks. And I ended up in the hospital for a week. And it was really hard because my husband couldn't visit and I couldn't leave the room, which was tough, but I was treated very well and the food was great, as you can see on my, channel. Then when I thought everything's going really well, baby is growing fine, I get COVID. Now I'm going to be cutting out my coughing because I still have a cough. Luckily, it's very surface level cough now. It's kind of loose, but it's just really annoying. At first, it was really hurting my stomach because I was coughing so hard, and that scared me. I was scared for the baby. When I first got a positive test, I panic cried after 2 years of not having it, and I did have it in 2020, and it took about 6 months for it to go away, and it was brutal, that strain of virus. Because I have severe asthma, I struggled really hard, and it took 3 months to get my smell and taste back and 6 months for the cough to go away. I'm praying and hoping that this cough is going to go away by the time I give birth. That's my only fear right now. And my other fear was pneumonia, because if you have a cough for a really long time, it can turn into that. Luckily, my breathing hasn't been terrible. My asthma is controlled. I have been taking asthma medicine. The upside is that the baby has antibodies now, and she's kicking like crazy right now. Thank God. I got it during this time. It wasn't too late. It wasn't too early. I could still feel the baby kicking. So I knew that everything was okay, because if I had it earlier and I couldn't feel those kicks yet, it would put me into the worst anxiety possible. So yeah, I still have a cough. I'm supposed to go see my regular doctor next week, so she might have some more advice for me. A lot of you guys messaged me on Instagram and you're like, I had a cough while pregnant for a month after getting COVID. So you guys gave me some hope that it will go away. The other thing is that my asthma does act up sometimes, so I've been taking it slow, especially when I go outside in the cold air. I'm coughing a lot, and it doesn't look good when you're out in public. I'm supposed to meet up with a friend next week, so hopefully it's not too bad. I just wanted to come on here because maybe somebody out there has severe asthma and is pregnant and going through this. I didn't have anyone that could relate to it, because everyone's like, oh, it's just a cold, it'll pass. But for me, it's not just a cold. Because of my lung condition, it's way worse. And the thing that blew my mind was that my husband got it too, and he had completely different symptoms. And I feel like it's so different for everybody. So you can't just say, oh, it's just a cold, or it's something that's not that big of a deal. It's like the flu. It's not for everybody. It's very different for everyone. This is like the only virus that I know of that is very different for everyone, depending on your health. Luckily, I had an app, my pregnancy app, called the What to Expect app. I like that app because they have a forum and I can go on there, ask questions. I can find other people who have similar problems. There weren't a lot of people that have asthma and COVID, but there were a lot of people that had a severe cough and things like that. And when I went to the clinic recently, I just want to say that baby seems safe. I get my second anatomy scan next time. She seemed really fine. She was kicking happily and sucking her thumb, and a relief came over me when I went to my appointment. At night, I cannot breathe. It's really hard for me to breathe still, because also the baby is pushing on my lungs and things like that. Like, the baby's getting bigger, so I don't have much of a lung capacity or room for breathing as much now, especially when I'm laying on my side or propped up. It's still hard to lay down. I just feel like I had an infection, and I can feel that infection, the after effects of that infection. This is the most complicated thing that I'm going through right now, because it's not gone. It's been over 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks and 2 days since I've gotten it. I got it on December 29th. The first few days getting it was honestly the worst. I had chills, I felt cold. I probably had a fever. I did not see that I had a fever. When I tested myself, when I took my temperature, it was a really low temperature. It was like 35, which is really low and odd because I'm never that. I was sweating a lot the first night, so I could have had like a fever for an hour and didn't know it. My husband, on the other hand, had a fever for like 3 days and he got the worst possible sore throat ever. I never got that, so it was really interesting to see how we were so different. I just had major congestion, cough, asthma, and just being pregnant, and I would wake up like every single hour and touch my stomach and be like, are you okay? I'd just be so worried more about the baby than myself. I didn't know what she was feeling. I was coughing really hard and I had chills. I had body aches. That was another thing that lasted for a really long time. Even without a fever, I had body aches, but I did get through it. And the good thing was that my clinic was able to provide medication early on. My husband didn't have COVID at the time. He got COVID like 4 days later. He was able to go pick up some medicine from the clinic without us like going there to see a doctor. So that was really nice that I had some medication to kind of thin out the phlegm in my chest. I drank a lot of ginger tea with manuka honey, tried to stay as calm as possible. We had to register ourselves with health services. So once we were registered, they gave us a app that we had to use to record our symptoms and let them know our blood oxygen levels. So we had to use a little oximeter, and I was glad that I had that because that shows how much oxygen the baby is getting too. So I was able to test that, and that was pretty normal throughout, except for at night. If I tested and I was laying down for a long time, it was pretty low. We had to test our temperature and our blood oxygen levels, and we had to record that daily and nightly. That was to be done for a week. And then they call us again and let us know, hey, you know, your symptoms haven't escalated, so you can leave and you can do normal things, because after about 5 days, you're not contagious, but you have to wait like a few extra days to go outside because you could still potentially be contagious. So after a week of going insane inside, I was able to leave the house, and it was still hard for me to leave the house, even now, just because of the cough that I have, and I'm just the fatigue and the heart palpitations and things like that. If your symptoms escalated and you had problems, they would send help or take you to a hospital. So I feel like Japan really takes care of you in that aspect. Also got free stuff, free food from the government. So they sent us 2 boxes of food. Actually, I don't think it was like the healthiest of stuff, but there were some things in there that were pretty decently healthy. So they gave us these like 2 big care packages for the week that we were sick. I think you had to register for it, and Yuji did that when he got sick. Whoa, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff in here. What is this? Oh, pineapple. What is that?
Seaweed.
Oh, it is? Oh, nice. Furikake. So you can eat all of that.
Good for rice. It's very good for
rice. Oh, it's rice. That's kind of cool.
Oh, this is nice. I can eat this.
Yeah, eat that. This too.
Nice.
Coffee. It's What's this? Oh, it's mixed beans.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's the okayu. That's the stuff you've been making, no?
Yeah.
Harusame soup. Egg drop soup or something. You got a lot of miso soup. This is like mostly what you can eat. Oh, is that like lozenges? Oh, that's good for your throat. Ooh, perfect. Take that. Is that cowpiss? Yeah. I know it sounds like I'm saying cow piss, but you know. Sports drink powder. Okay. Oh, fish. Canned fish. Oh my god, they gave me so much curry. Oh, I like hayashi rice. Yeah, from the city. And they also sent us free tests, but they only gave us 2 COVID tests, and you had to keep ordering them, and then after a week you weren't able to order more unless you paid. Like, you can't get free COVID tests here. It's really crazy. Yeah, so we were both suffering, drinking tons of ginger tea and just being sick together. Actually, the 4th day was the worst of it, and the 5th day was the worst of it. And then it kind of started getting better from there. For those of you who have severe asthma and get COVID while you're pregnant, I just want to say that it's all gonna be okay. Some of you have messaged me on Instagram and shared your stories. Some of them were worse than mine. My heart goes out to you, but everybody said, you know, their babies were fine. Even one woman had pneumonia. I do want to be extremely, extremely careful, even though for the next couple months, like, I have a pretty strong immunity towards the virus. According to my aunt who is a nurse, it's hard for you to kind of get that virus again that quickly, but you can still potentially get it. So I don't want to get it before I give birth, because that would be the worst possible scenario. But I did recover and I'm getting better, and the baby seems fine and she's kicking away, and I grew, the baby grew. Haven't filmed much of anything during this time because I was struggling and I just needed to take a break, but I promise you that I will be uploading more things in the next coming weeks. I think this is a video I wanted to make, you know, to help other women, I guess, who are pregnant and again get COVID. So hopefully this relieves your mind and your worries if you do have asthma like me too. Usually if you're coughing and suffering, the baby is not, but it was hard to get that out of my head. Is that something's wrong, or, you know, something's wrong with the baby? Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about it because that's me and that's my anxiety and that's how I roll. I'm just glad that I got through this and, you know, things are looking up and getting better. But I will say that I was vaccinated 3 times. I was about to get my 4th one. I don't know if that helped or not. The vaccine is not to not get COVID. It's just to make the symptoms a lot less, and it was necessary for me to get it because of my asthma, and the first time I had it was brutal, brutal, brutal. Like, it was so bad, and I never want to feel that ever again. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. Even my husband, like, he was like, I can't believe how bad this is. Like, I've never felt this sick in my entire life. He couldn't even swallow or eat, which was scary. So it's just different for everybody. Yeah, it was wild, and thank you guys for messaging me and supporting me through this and, you know, easing my mind, because it was a very scary time for me and just having this baby and this virus and things like that. But a part of me is really glad that I got it because she has the antibodies now and a little bit more protected. Anyway, I hope this helps ease other people's minds, and thanks for listening to my experience, and I hope to see you in the next video.